Assistant Commissioner, welcome to Africa Media Australia.
Thank you.
We want to thank you for your time. Can you summarize your message today to the African leadership team?
Look, I think the key message was one of encouragement, and it was also about really sending a message that the police are there for the community, and our key role is to work with the community rather than against the community. But a key part in order for us to be effective in that approach is to do everything we can to build capability within communities, whether it's African communities or indeed any community. And one of the key challenges for recently arrived communities, not just African communities but Afghani communities and so on, is Australia is a very different society, and Australians generally make broad assumptions around how people will behave and how communities might organise themselves. But with recently arrived communities, of course, there are significant gaps in capability.
Yes.
Some of that might be a lack of understanding or awareness about expectations that operate more generally within our community. But another key part of it is a question about the capability within communities themselves. So, for example, the ability to organise safely and effectively major community events. That requires a significant amount of capability. Now, recently arrived communities won't have the same degree of capability and development as communities that have been here for a long time. So police have to recognise that and work with those communities to try and build that capability. So our focus is very much about trying to make a contribution to building leadership capability, and then standing by alongside those leaders to help them then meet their vision, meet their aspirations.
In terms of police engagement with communities, is there something that is different with regards to African communities than the rest of the communities?
No, look, it's a piece that we focus on right across the board. So, for example, in my region, Southern Metropolitan Region, we have the largest Jewish community in Australia, based in Caulfield and around Elsternwick, and my members out of Caulfield Station have a huge focus around working with and supporting the Jewish community. Down in Dandenong, which is actually where my headquarters is, Horn of Africa communities are a significant focus for us, as are South Pacific Island communities, the Afghani community. So the police focus on communities is very much about ultimately reaching a point where we can live up to what is a core value for policing in our tradition, which is the community of the police and the police of the community. That's a two-way relationship. And so establishing relationships with particular communities so that we can work towards that end where we police together is a key part of what we do.
And there's been some issues recently with regards to police relationship with some members of the African Australian communities, especially in the Footscray area and around that sort of western area. What have you got to say for that?
Look, what I will say to you is what I say to my people every day. That is, police who are on the front line. I regularly take the opportunity to set my expectations with my people that they are to treat everyone, irrespective of race or creed, with dignity and respect. But more particularly, our focus must always be on behaviour rather than race. So I have to say to you, yes, there are occasions where young people, particularly from African communities, have engaged in quite serious social harm. And of course police are going to hold people who do that accountable. But the basis upon which we have those interventions always has to be in response to the behaviour. Now, unfortunately, at times the police response does get characterised as being a race-based response, and of course when those allegations or concerns get raised on my patch, I am very aggressive in terms of making sure that my people have not acted inappropriately. The issue for us though is our focus always needs to be on the behaviour and always about how can we approach our policing task in a way which is going to promote community safety rather than increase marginalisation.
And is there anything that is being done specifically with regards to police stopping people and checking them? Because there's been some sort of racial profiling issue. I'm not sure.
Racial profiling often gets thrown up as an issue. I have to say to you, and you know, I operate at all levels in the policing organisation. Racial profiling is not. It doesn't feature in our planning. What we focus on is behaviour. If we find behaviour emerging in a particular community, then of course we'll seek to engage with that particular community. But the issue for us always is about the behaviour. And you know, we will, and we do, police where appropriate. We will police as strongly as we would African youth misbehaving, as we would a bunch of drunken Australian yobbos leaving the MCG.
Doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't make any difference. And
right.
The response is exactly the same.
Maybe one last message to the members of the African Australian community with regards to the relationship with the police.
Look, can I say that it's one of hope? I mean, the police really are here for you, but that will only work if the communication lines are open and you come to us. I mean, you scratch the surface of any police officer. When we first started policing, we all joined to make a difference. We all joined to make our community safer and stronger. There are some communities in particular which need a focus and support in reaching that aspiration, and that's absolutely a focus for us in terms of the African community. So policing is very much about making communities stronger so that communities ultimately can be safer, and that's what we're looking for in terms of our relationship with African communities generally.
All right, Assistant Commissioner Luke Cornelius, we thank you very much for your time to Africa Media Australia.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.